Happy Daytona Day, everybody! And no, we're not talking about that Daytona Day. We're talking about the actual fun, exciting, and blah, blah, blah. Actually, Daytona Day was yesterday and Saturday, also known as the Rolex 24 at Daytona. So, today we're going to be looking at the car that won the 23 hours and 40 minutes of Daytona in 2004. The 24 hours in 2004 was won by a Ford Doran. However, this car, well, it sort of broke with 20 minutes to go. This is the number 2 Sitco-sponsored Howard Boss Motorsports Chevrolet Crawford. It's also the same. It's the same engine as the Pontiac. Let's face it. So this car was a Gen 1 Daytona Prototype, and the Crawford, it stayed relatively the same until 2009. It went to an Evo specification car, also known as the Gen 2 Daytona Prototype. And then, they sort of discontinued their car and they didn't make a Gen 3. However, Crawford is actually still technically a manufacturer, even though now they are owned by a little company, you may have heard of them, called Onrock Automotive. And these guys produced the Leger JSP2, JSP217, blah, blah, blah. Well, their U.S. headquarters is the remnants of Crawford, and they produced the Nissan DPI for Extreme Speed Motorsports, which was developed by Crawford Engineering, I guess you could say, as, excuse the heater. Thank God it's on, though. So anyways, let's go ahead and look at this car. It was driven by Andy Wallace, which he's from sports cars fame in Europe, because he won the 24 Hours Le Mans and LMP2 in 2006 with Ray Malek Limited, also known as RML, in a Lola. Tony Stewart, you might have heard of him, you might have not, I don't know. And then also this little unknown guy named Dale Earnhardt Jr., who finished second, I think, or second or third with his dad, another little known guy named Dale Earnhardt Sr., in 2001. This car almost won the race, as I said. They were hammering in wood blocks to hold the suspension together, but ultimately it failed with 19 minutes to go, and the car finished, well, it didn't finish, with Tony Stewart behind the wheel too. So, Tony Stewart is an almost Rolex 24-hour winning driver. So let's go ahead and look at this car. They made two variations, Action did, in 1/18 scale. They made the normal version, and then they made the raced version right here. Too bad all four wheels are on, then it would, if one wheel was shot up in the engine cover, then it'd be a true raced version. But anyways, Action did a fantastic job. This is a heavy diecast too. So at the front you have two Grand American Road Racing, also known as the actually at the time, the little brother to NASCAR. Well, it's still a little brother to NASCAR. However, at the time, NASCAR, in my opinion, was a little bit more entertaining. So anyways, you have Sitco, PDV, Simpson, Hella, which is headlights, Hella, and then Sitco. And of course, this sponsor came from a little-known driver who would become an IndyCar driver who would become very hated, also known as Milka Duno. That sponsorship, which Milka was in the sister car, I believe is the number 09. It was the Spirit of Daytona Sitco car. Anyways, Howard Boss Motorsports Rolex 24 Goodyear, because these guys race Goodyear tires. Of course, comparably, the Goodyear tire is just about as good as the Continental tire, which Continental messed up big time this year. Anyways, you have Action, obviously, and then something ARC, Mooresville, North Carolina, Brembo Racing, which is the brakes, Motec Electronic Systems, which these guys are still a series sponsor to this day, because they actually manufacture the LED light systems, the LED leader lights, PME engines, Paget, and X-Track, which is the gearbox. So again, this is a Chevrolet powered car. In Uptype, you have two Sitco Bass Pro Shops, because Tony Stewart, and a bunch of Chevy logos. So, fun fact, this car is Chevy powered. However, the sister car was Pontiac. Now, it was the same engine, just rebadged as a Chevy because Tony Stewart and Dale Jr. Anyway, so the nose does come off on this car, and you can see the intricacies of the front nose assembly. The splitter, which is attached, which that used to be a big problem on these Daytona prototypes, is an LMP2 car. The splitter is attached to the nose, like the whole nose assembly. However, on a Daytona prototype, that is not the case. Anyways, you can see all the brake ducting and everything. The suspension, the uprights, everything is modeled here. We'll show you the nose. I mean, it's pretty basic underneath, but of course, if this car does look familiar from a certain car, if you watched Grand Am in the mid-2000s, it should look like the Ruby Tuesday Alex Job Racing Porsche Crawford, which I actually missed the Ruby Tuesday car. Anyways, on the back, the engine cover does come off as well, as you can see. You get a nice view of it. And you can see the Chevrolet Pontiac engine and all of its fine details. And unfortunately, well, actually, this is the pre-race version. So yes, this is correct. It's a V8. And you can see just how nice it is. And then you can see the back. On the back, you have your taillights, sit-go, and your rear wing, which is actually all, like this whole assembly is metal. And you can see your exhaust out the back. I mean, these Daytona prototypes were, you know, they weren't the best looking cars, but they were cool. So we're going to go ahead and switch over. I wanted to make a little joke real fast that this car, you cannot call it a race version because there is no wooden blocks holding the suspension pieces together. LOL. But I mean, still, they did a very nice job on the race version. As you can see, it just looks like a proper raced car. Of course, it rained for most of that race. In the packaging, the race version comes with a chunk of a tire, piece of a tire from the actual race car, quote unquote. But the normal version does not. And I'll show you inside the car as best as I can. It's a very detailed car. I mean, underneath, you can see it's just, you know, a base or a metal chassis to the car. But I mean, the engine is very, very nice and detailed. They actually made the sister versions of the car, because why not? You had the 4, which was driven by, I'm trying to think, because there was another, Jimmy Johnson was in that car, you know, back before he was a champion. And then the 09 car was a Spirited Daytona team, which is still racing today. With Milka Duno aboard, which they had an alliance with the Howard Boss Motorsports anyways. But anyways, you can see the Daytona prototype. This is one of the few 1/18th Daytona prototypes they made. But overall though, and they did make a color chrome version of this car, which was kind of weird. But I mean, it is nice to see the Crawford, which again became Ligier, which became Oak Racing Ligier. But anyways, that's it for the review, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something, or, you know, maybe not. I don't know. Don't care. Just kidding. But anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video, and peace out.